Nope, we're good.
Okay.
Can you just double check for me on all the platforms, make sure we're live on everything and we're good?
Okay. Cool.
What's up, everybody? What's going on? It is your boy, Chris Mateo, Mr. Grow Your Business, here for another Grow Your Business Mastermind session. We're going to be going into some very specific topics today. One of them is going to be about government 3.0. A lot of people are talking about Elon Musk, Doge, all the things happening with Trump and what's happening with these changes happening in the government and what we could expect, how we should be reacting to it, what's the next steps. I'm going to be touching on that today about government 3.0 and what I think is the next evolution of government, something that's changing profoundly from all of the different elements of government is going to be changing in the next few years here. And I think this is the beginning of that with the government 3.0 that we're going to be talking about. Another thing we're going to be talking about is AI and the entire concept of AI making us superhuman. Can AI make us superhuman? I'm working on a very exclusive book and I'm going to be touching on some of those topics here today with you guys. So we have a lot to cover. I don't want to bore you guys with the intros. Let's get right into it and talk about the latest on what's happening with government and what's happening with AI. Let's get it. All right. So let's pull this up over here. If we can zoom in on it, Jan. I got my lovely co-host and producer, Jan, in the building, helping me with everything here. There we go. So what? So recently, everything's been happening with Elon Musk, with Doge, with all the audits, looking at all the government waste, fraud, and abuse that's happening, and just looking at where our money's being spent and is it the best way that it's being spent, and how transparent the government is. Because up until this point, it has been not transparent at all. So we don't know what's happening. We just know that they keep spending more trillions and trillions of dollars. The number keeps going up. The facilities, as far as the advantages that the citizens get, don't seem to be getting better. Our roads are not getting better. Our highways and trains and airplanes, airports, all of these things are not better. They're not that much better than they were 20, 30, 40 years ago. I feel like it's the exact same infrastructure that we've had for the last 50 to 100 years, and we're not getting updates. Even some places where bridges are collapsing, things are falling apart, but the government keeps taking more money, keeps charging us more taxes, keeps doing more things to justify that we should be paying these taxes, but then we're not seeing the results on the ground. So what I've been working on as a concept that I've been philosophically asking myself and going back and forth with ChatGPT and trying to figure out, what does a post-capitalistic government look like, or a post-democracy look like? We I would say up until this point have proven that democracy and capitalism has been the number one government in the world, just because of the pure growth and sustainability and innovation that has come out of America, making us the number one country in the world. Even if me as an American citizen, there's so many things that I don't like about this country, but after traveling so many other places in the world, this is still the number one country in the world. It still has the best human rights, liberal rights, everything that you want to do business wise, family wise. America is the place with the most freedom, the most opportunity, and essentially still the biggest chances to make your dreams a reality. And that's unfortunate, but that's the reality, that America is the top of the food chain when it comes to these opportunities. Now, with that being said, there are a lot of other countries that have a different style of governing, that have a lot of benefits and a lot of opportunities for their citizens. For example, in the EU, you have healthcare, you have college, you have all these things included as a citizen. In America, you don't. You don't have healthcare, you don't have college, all these different things. So that inquires more revenue, more money for you to be able to pay for those quote unquote luxuries, when in some places those are already included with your citizenship. So I've been thinking about this a lot, because democracy within itself seems like an ideal situation. People vote and on who they believe is the best candidate for the situation. Capitalism is another concept where it's focusing on let the markets decide who the winning product or service is. by basically letting them, compete for the business and compete for the service. So these two, you know, frameworks and thought processes came together, and they gave us America, a meritocracy where your merit, meaning how good you are at providing services and doing business, allows you to grow and build within the relationship of your opportunities, right? So we want to do the same thing when it comes to what's next for the government inside of America. I think that there's a next evolution where we go beyond democracy, we go beyond capitalism, and with AI and cryptocurrency, transparency and artificial intelligence allow us to have a truly global and free system that can account for us, can allow us to participate into our local economies and help with infrastructures and things like that. But we'll actually be able to track. So if I vote $1 or if I pay 20,000 in taxes, I'll actually be able to financially see where my dollars went, every single dollar from 20,000 to 10 cents. I can track all of that through the blockchain technology, or with artificial intelligence, I can understand the bills. They'll be able to consolidate all these tax laws, all these different regulations and things that are put into place. It'll be able to simplify that and make it easier for the everyday person to interact and understand these laws. And not only that, but think about how it impacts them personally as an individual and as a family. How does this law or bill affect me? Now, all of this starts to make everything a lot more transparent, a lot more understandable, and a lot easier for people to be an active part of the government. Right now, it's some crazy number. Like, we had so many people, so many millions of people. I think it was like 70 million people voted on each side. So you're talking about 150 million Americans voted, and that's still only less than half of the country that voted. What would it mean if the entire country was able to get activated, was able to vote, was able to have their voice heard, and actually be able to track that verifiably through blockchain, through AI? How would that impact and change elections, change opportunities out there, and even getting the money out of politics? Where you have all these donors that are donating money to these politicians, and then they're getting favors on the back end. Versus if it was all done through crypto, through AI, you'll be able to very clearly see who's for the people, who's getting the funding from the people, who's getting the support from the people, versus who's the donors and all that type of stuff. So these are the type of things that I think are going to be inevitable and continue to update and change in the government. And I think what's happening with Doge and Elon Musk right now is basically the first step. It's the first step of bringing everyone into the darkness that is the government. Right now, the government is basically like a giant black hole where all of our taxpayer dollars goes, and it just dies away. And even when you think about laws and goals and dreams and things that people want to happen on a local level, the government is basically a place where all of these great ideas or innovative ideas go to die. Because if you want to think about the government as essentially a larger representation of your local DMV, that's the exact representation of the government, at least in my eyes. I look at the government in the White House, all over the federal bureaucracy. It's all just a giant DMV to me. And if you were to think about it, is the DMV an asset or a liability? And I would argue it's a liability, because it doesn't move fast, it's inefficient. They make you do the same document 5 or 6 times, and it's everyone's there with an attitude and doesn't want to actually help you grow. Well, the government 3.0 is going to be more of a service-based business, and a service where the citizens are the actual shareholders. They're the stockholders of this stock. So how does America is the company, and as citizens of America, we own individual stock in this company, and we invest in this company every day and every year when we pay our taxes. And it should be looked upon as an investment into this country, and then it should give us a return on our investment. It should give us money back, right? Whether that is through amenities and different lifestyle opportunities, like being able to have good roads, good schooling, good healthcare, good housing, all these things. Those are amenities and stuff like that. But then even more so, as we get more productive, AI, robotics, and all these things come into play, there's going to be a giant productivity boost, and the citizens of this country, which these AIs and these infrastructures are being built on their data, our government dollars, our government funding, all these things. It should give us a ROI as well. All the money shouldn't go to OpenAI and Microsoft and you know, Anthropic with Amazon, or Grok with Elon and Tesla. All of these different AI systems should be partnered with the American people, the American citizens, so that we can actually generate revenue as well when these AI systems take off and they become trillion-plus-dollar companies, which is inevitable. So this is just to set the groundwork on what I believe is coming for Government 3.0. I have an entire blog that I wrote on this where you guys can go check that out. Go to chrismateo.com or click the link in my bio, and you can actually read through in detail on my thoughts about this Government 3.0 situation. But let's go into a little bit more of the specifics, right? The key features of a post-democratic, post-capitalistic society. So number one is decentralized governance. AI-driven policies and blockchain voting ensure efficiency and fairness. So Jan just gave me an update. The blog comes out next week on Monday. So you guys are gonna see this before the blog comes out. If you watch it, make sure you're tuned in. Next week, Monday, we're dropping the blog of Government 3.0, which is, you guys are getting the preview right now to what's happening. So back to decentralized governance. AI-driven policies and blockchain voting ensure efficiency and fairness. So the biggest problem with the government right now is that it's all centralized. So what does that mean? That means that it's all a bunch of people in the White House or in the the Washington D.C. area that are all making decisions to govern, quote unquote, the rest of us as the 300 million Americans that are being governed by these couple thousand people, right? Well, blockchain technology allows us to really be a democracy and really decentralize this entire ecosystem. So instead of it being one power telling us what the laws are, telling us what the rules and the taxes and all those type of things are, now you have decentralized power, and you have people that are able to vote with their wallet for blockchain or the computer or whatever. And now every person can have an actual voice and actually be heard. So this is huge, because right now, literally more than half of the people are not even being heard, because they're not voting, they're not engaged, they're not even involved in politics at all. So just immediately off of making it easier and more accessible and decentralized across the country, everyone gets the opportunity to be involved, whether that's opening an app on their phone, whether that's opening an app website on their computer. They have the opportunity to engage in this political process. So that decentralization takes away the power from a couple of thousand people and makes it open to a true democratic republic, where now the people's voice could be heard on a one-for-one basis. So I think that's super important, the decentralization of it. And then also the opportunity to still have the republic, so you can still vote for the people locally, or your governor or your senator and things of that nature, and then they can also vote and have maybe a double X voting power or 3X voting power. This concept is something new, but I think it's going to change the game when it comes to governance, because for all we've ever known from government is always being a centralized form of power, basically governing over a lot of people. I think in the future, we're going to have the opportunity to have a big decentralized government that basically people can opt in to the different types of government that they want. They might want more of a communist type of government if they're not big on capitalism, and they want more fairness and freedom for everybody to be more balanced. They might go and opt in for a more communist or situation versus a capitalist situation. Some people might want more capitalist. Some people want more independent. Some people want more democratic. So depending on where you fall, left, middle, right, wherever you are, you're going to opt into your version of what you're looking for. Think about it similar to social media, or within social media, you have Facebook, you have Instagram, you have X, you have YouTube, and all of these places, they have a lot of creators and a lot of different micro groups, micro communities in there that you can be a part of. And then you can go deeper into that micro community and follow all the influencers, follow all the voices in there, and be able to build with those people. The government is going to be very similar with that. It's going to be very hyper focused on specific people that are about family. They're going to be in the government that best suits families. People that are business owners are going to be for those. People that are single are going to go for those. So everybody's going to have a opportunity to have their voice heard, and the decentralized nature of it allows everyone to actually be able to compete and create their own communities and their own government style that then can compete for the best opportunity of who's going to be the quote unquote leader of these styles, right? So if let's say we have 300 million people, 200 million people decide that the capitalist, democratic, decentralized way is the best way, then that's going to be the one that is the base of the ethics and the rules and the way we're going with things. But still, all the other people and all the other decentralized governments will be able to have a voice into that as well. So that's the first step, decentralized government. Next, we have incentivized based citizenship. Contributions are rewarded with digital tokens, fostering innovation. So this is huge because a big thing with AI right now is that people don't know what they're going to do if they lose their job. They don't know what's going to happen in a post-work world, a post-capitalistic world where money is not the most valuable thing in the world anymore because we have abundance. So what does that mean? Like, abundance means you don't have to pay for gas and oil. You don't have to pay for products or services. And how do you get there? You get there because the cost of energy has gone down to zero because the government and these big companies have invested so much into the power that they have now lowered the cost of power to pennies on the dollar. So now you can produce anything at a profitable rate because energy is so cheap. And then you go into the problem of what happens next. How do you actually start to incentivize people to do work, to make money, to go out there into the world and be something, follow their dreams, right? Because that's the big fear. The big fear is if you get rid of all the jobs, get rid of all the work, then people are just going to die and be suicidal, be depressed, and no one's actually going to evolve. But I want to remind you that during the Renaissance era and the time before, when people had a lot of abundance and a lot of growth in the economics, what people did was work was actually seen as something lower class, something lower level, something amongst of a slave or someone who was not rich or wealthy. Most of the people in the Renaissance age, they were about the higher class. They thought about philosophy. They thought about art. They thought about science. This is when a lot of amazing innovations came to be because people had the opportunity to think creatively and innovatively instead of being forced to just focus on the things that they had to do to survive, to feed the family. And I think that's what's going to happen now. We're going to have a post AI creative renaissance where as people start to lose jobs and lose, essentially anonymity over their life and control over their life, more and more of that control is going to go into the government, is going to go into these AI companies, is going to go into these big conglomerates. And it's up to us to understand how do we leverage that power to take it back? Because if not, it can get dangerous where now you have the government just giving you money and you can't ever make more money than that. But these type of incentives, if they can say, okay, every time you help somebody homeless, we'll add an extra $1,000 into your Bitcoin wallet or your crypto wallet. Or let's say every time you help someone with mental illness or you clean up recyclables in your local area, we're going to deduct $5,000 from your taxes. So instead of you having to pay an extra $5,000 in taxes that year, you get a credit for $5,000 in taxes that year, or you get added $5,000 credit to your wallet. This is the way that the government will be able to incentivize us, and our society will be able to incentivize us based on what we find valuable. Okay, so if we find it valuable, we want to incentivize our citizens to do more of those things. So that incentive-based citizenship is just like coming back to the analogy of if America was a company, you want the incentives of that company to be aligned with the results. So if I got a founder or a partner who's investing more money, who's going out and finding more deals, who's growing the company bigger and bigger, I want that person to be properly incentivized so that they can keep growing and building this larger and larger. And that's the same thing we want to do with citizens. We want to be able to keep them incentivized to keep growing the company and the pie for all of us. So that's incentivized based citizenship. Then you have post scarcity economy, technology, lower cost, making basic resources universally available. So for the post scarcity economy, I kind of talked on that a little bit, but it's like once the energy goes down and we're not paying as much for energy, all of our goods, products, and services now essentially can be done at any price. And that's where scarcity is no longer what drives the market, but abundance. So it's an entirely different concept because forever, never until after this time, what has this happened? But when there's an abundance of something, it's now there's going to be a different level of um, market fit for that product or service. So if gas is at $3 right now, why is it at $3? Because there's enough gas demand and enough supply that $3 seems logical. But what happens when there's so much gas supply, so much abundance of gas that now it's only worth $1, it's only worth a penny, it's only worth a couple cents? These are the things that happen when you're talking about sustainability and you're talking about bringing the cost of power and energy all the way down to zero. This allows for an economic boom and a new market of abundance where everything is abundant. So now we're going to change the way we price things, change the way we interact with things, because everyone's going to have a different level of money to play with, as well as a different level of scarcity to play with. Scarcity is going to be about different things. It's not going to be about commodities, and we're not going to be so scarce with power or electricity or different things of that nature, but we might be more scarce of art, of collectibles, of different things that are one of a kind, because those things are even more scarce now when there's an abundance of everything else. So that's something to think about. Then the next topic we have, we can pull that up. We have human rights and social perks. So this is free healthcare, education, and digital sovereignty for all. So this was important to me because as I've been traveling the world lately, I realized that America is the government and the country that has the most access to the world. Meaning, we could go anywhere in the world. If you're American, your passport is pretty much good everywhere, and you can actually connect and build and stay in different places all over the world. Now, the big problem is that the whole world is not treated like America. So I'm Dominican. My wife is French. France, for example, has a lot of the same capabilities where you can go all over the world like that. Dominican Republic, not so much. Other countries, not so much. You are limited to a certain amount of countries. You are limited to how long you can stay in certain countries. All of these things play variables. And I think in the future, I don't think humans, like human beings, if you compare a human to an animal, any other animal in the wild in the world, we're the only ones that have these arbitrary rules of a border or citizenship or all these type of concepts. I think that all of these things are going to change as we keep evolving government and keep evolving as a people. And I think that you're going to be a part of this online citizenship. Let's just call it the global citizen, right? And this global citizen does everything through blockchain, through AI, through their phone, through their computer, and everything's directly connected to them as a person and their biometrics, their eyes or whatever. And I believe that that's going to be your passport. That's going to be your global citizenship everywhere. And based on you being a part of that, will allow you to go in and out of any country you want, allow you to pay a set amount of taxes for the global citizenship, but then you can live and be anywhere you want in the world. I think this is what's going to happen because I don't see how the governments, besides doing what they've been doing, which is limiting the growth of technology, I don't see how it's feasible for them to keep doing this for 10, 20 years. I think that the technology is going to outpace most of these governments. And the only way to work with the government is to actually create a technology that is more of a global ecosystem and allows all of these different type of governments and different types of citizens to work together. And that kind of like you got the human rights, right? You got the human rights. That's like a global situation where people believe these are the human rights every human should have on the planet. Similar to that, there's going to be the global citizen, where these are just rights that every citizen should have and that everybody's going to include. And whether it's Bitcoin or some other type of cryptocurrency, every country in the world will accept that and then be able to be changed for their currencies and things of that nature. So that's what I think is going to happen. This is just some touch points on the government 3.0. Is there any final thoughts on this, Jan, that I need to bring up? If you want to pull that graphic up one more time before I finish out this topic. Yep. Can you scroll down? Yep. Here we go. So pillars of traditional governance and 3.0. The 3.0 eliminates inefficiencies, bureaucracy, and inequality through automation and decentralization. So that's the first thing, is that decentralization and the automation is going to give us a big bang for our buck. Just imagine right now, every $1,000 you're spending is going to 25 different useless programs that don't affect your life. But then imagine you have AI and decentralization where you can track where that $1,000 went and how it directly impacted your life, your kid's life, your family's life, right? So I think that's going to be huge, the decentralization and automation of the government. Then government, the future of governance, a system driven by technology, equality, and sustainability for a better future. So I think right now there's a lot of bad incentives in the government, both from the donors and from the citizens not having transparency. So once we have that transparency into what's happening, and then we also have the opportunity to get the donors out of there and for them to do what we as the citizens want them to do, I think it's going to completely change the way government is being ran. Is going to make it more sustainable, so we don't have this huge debt crisis and are capable of going bankrupt at any moment, right? Then you have the economic model for government 3.0. Universal basic income, tokenized rewards, and decentralized public-private partnerships fuel innovation. So the universal basic income, this is kind of like a dividend or a payout for the country's citizens. I think before I didn't really like this concept back in 2016 when Andrew Yang introduced universal basic income. I didn't really see the value. I didn't understand what was there. But now that I'm really in depth on the AI and the technology stuff, I can see how this dividend or this payout makes a lot of sense, because we are the stakeholders. We are the owners that have educated this AI. And now that we have made this AI all knowing and super intelligent, we want it to be able to pay us back and help us grow. And that's not going to happen unless we actually have stake and ownership in this process. If not, then only the big companies are going to be the ones that benefit and none of the citizens benefit. Think of it similar to social media, where you have Facebook or Instagram or X who are making a lot of money off of American citizens, but then the American citizens don't have any way to monetize that and make money themselves from the profits that Facebook and X are making. So we want to democratize that and make it so anybody can be able to gain revenue from that. And then next we have the conclusion, embracing the government 3.0 revolution. The path forward requires rethinking governance and leveraging technology for the greater good. So this is important. I think that whether this is the right answer, like my government 3.0 or another type of government, I think we are getting to the end of a democratic and capitalistic world. I think capitalism and democracy have proven to be the best in the marketplace by far. There's no other competition. But I think we can all agree that there is room for growth. There is room to update and optimize what we do have as a government, because even though it's the best that we currently have, it's not the best of what it could be. We see so many flaws, so many things that don't make sense. Why is this happening this way? And yet it continues to happen like that decade after decade. I think that we have to start reimagining what government means. We have to start reimagining how to use the new technologies that we have so we can actually be in the best position to win with this new government style. And I think that when you start to think about it from an auditing perspective, doing what Doge is doing, this is the best way to really start optimizing. You can't optimize the system without cutting the fat. You have to cut the fat first, and then after you cut the fat, then you can focus on adding in more muscle, adding in more strengths, more pieces to make this thing make more sense. And I think that's what he's doing right now. And I think that's what's coming down the pipeline. So I think this is very, very early to all of these things. I think the decentralization, the transparency, the AI, I think all of that is going to be coming over the next 5 to 10 years. But I think this is setting the foundation of what people want. The American people want transparency. We want to be able to see what's happening with our dollars. We want to be able to track what's happening with our dollars. We want better services. We want healthcare. We want college. We want homes and UBI included. All of these things. Because if we're literally the number one country in the world, the richest country in the world, the most innovative country in the world, then why is it that we don't have all of the best amenities? Why is it that in Dubai or Saudi Arabia, they get land, they get all these different type of opportunities and free taxes and all that type of stuff, but here in America, which is supposed to be number one, we're not getting all of these benefits, right? So I think these benefits and amenities are going to be huge, and I think they're going to be what drives the culture of government forward and changes up a lot of things in the future. So without further ado, if you want to learn more about this government 3.0 concept, think about different ways, I would love for you to comment on this. Let me know what you think. Am I bugging? Is this crazy? Decentralized government is never going to work. And I'm just a techno optimist, but there's actually no way that this is going to happen. Let me know. If not, check out the blog dropping on Monday, where you can also comment and let me know your thoughts there. Okay. So let's go into the next half of the show real quick, where I want to touch on AI and AI making us superhuman. So I'm working on a very exclusive book right now. I'm going to be dropping a bunch of books this year, but this is my first book that I'm dropping. And I want you guys to understand why this is important to me and how I think this is going to change the game. Okay. Will technology make us superhuman? I believe technology will make us superhuman. And I think in the next 10 years, we're going to see the first superhumans in the world. Meaning, think about a Superman meets a robot, and these two things come together. Superman, robot come together, you have a superhuman. So someone who has superhuman strength, who has superhuman vision, has superhuman flights and transportation capabilities, who has superhuman mind reading capabilities or behavior. They can read your thoughts, they can read your body language, all of these different things. I think it's inevitable, and I think it's going to happen within the next 5 to 10 years. You already see things like Elon Musk Neuralink, where they're putting chips into people's brains, and now these people that are paraplegic, they can't walk, they can control computers and be able to beat people that are using controllers and stuff, because they are more connected to the computer, so they have faster response times and things of that nature. So someone who can't move their arms, can't move their legs, is better at playing online video games than someone with hands and feet that can move. It's crazy. So this is what's happening when we talk about superhuman capabilities. These are the different elements of what we're talking about here. You have that one layer, which is more focused on, okay, what can the mind intake, right? This is what Neuralink covers. How much information can we take? Because some of the things that slow us down is we can only read but so much. We can only hear but so much. But if the information is being downloaded directly into my brain, I go past the eyes and the sound, and I go directly into the consciousness and the mind. Now I have a faster download speed and also a faster upload speed, because I can talk and give out whatever I need just as fast, like telekinesis type of stuff, right? So I think that's already happening. Like it's Neuralink is already in 3 patients today. In 2025, Neuralink has 3 people that have a chip in their brain that makes them access the entire internet in their brain. So that's the first thing you have to understand. All of this stuff is already starting to take place. Then the second piece is you have these robotic arms, robotic legs, robotic exoskeletons, where people who both of their legs don't work, they can put on legs like a pants. They can literally get a pants type of robot technology, and now they can walk. So just think about that. But not only can they walk, now imagine you are a person who could walk. This person has robotic legs. Who do you think can run longer? Who do you think can run faster? I would assume it's the person who has robotic legs, right? Same thing with your arms. Who do you think is very quickly, people that go from disabled go to enabled, like more enabled than the regular person. And that's what I think the superhuman concept is going to be building off of. It's going to start with people who are disabled right now. They might not have all functions of their body, might not have the ability to see correctly, might not have the ability to move their legs, things of that nature. But I think that in the next 5 years, we're going to solve those issues where these people will be able to have at the same level at a bare minimum or more within 5 years of what a regular human can be. So what do I mean by that? Someone who's paralyzed and they can't move their legs and arms versus someone who was born natural and normal, they will be able to compete, whether it's in sports, whether it's in mind games, online stuff. They will be able to be equivalent in execution of things as someone who was normal and has their normal arms, legs, and can move and everything. I believe that that's going to happen within the next 5 years. We're going to have huge breakthroughs in that concept, and people are going to be able to master these disabilities, and no longer will we quote unquote have disabilities, at least in what we used to know, because right now, if someone's disabled, they're in a wheelchair for the rest of their life. But in the future, if they are disabled and they can't walk, then they might get those robot legs, and now they'll be able to walk just like everyone else, and it won't be as big of an impact. It's still obviously not going to be the same as normal or regular person, but it will hinder their life a lot less than if they were to have to go through life in a wheelchair, right? So that's the first layer. Then the second layer, I think the first half of the decade, the next 5 years, we're talking about literally not being able to walk to now being able to walk because of superhuman technology. Then you go to the next level. Okay, now regular humans and the people that used to be disabled but now are enabled. Now what's next? Well, now these people have the ability to go past normal capacity. So instead of just walking and running, they can run faster than everyone in the world. They can walk faster and longer than anyone in the world. They can lift things heavier than anyone in the world because they've already gotten past the natural levels. They can actually amplify these things because these things are robotic. These things have robot capabilities. So it means it's infinite growth, it's infinite opportunities to build these things stronger, more capable, and to last longer. So this is the way I think we inevitably get there by 2040, 2045. I don't see how we don't become superhuman. And Ray Croswell, he has the date of, I believe, 2050. Around 2050, we're going to be doing what's called the singularity, which basically means that the human mind and the artificial mind come together, and now the artificial mind is bigger, smarter, and better than the um, organic mind, the regular mind. And basically, that's when the robots and the AI take over the world and start to like run everything. Not saying it in a bad way, but like the humans can't keep up anymore because it's already gone way past what we're capable of. I think that's definitely going to happen. I see it based on what I'm seeing. That's very, very likely to happen. But I think that in the next 5 years, disabilities become erased. Nobody has any more disabilities. And then in the next 10 years, superhuman capabilities come into action where people are going to be able to run faster, lift heavier things, be able to have different type of vision. Like think about someone who doesn't have any vision right now. If they get their eyesight back, they'll be able to see at a level that we can see as a regular person. But then if you have um, enhanced eye vision, you can potentially see X-ray, and you can see, heat waves. You can see all these different spectrums of light that we are not able to see as regular humans, but someone who has been enhanced or enabled through technology can. So I think the superhuman era of humanity is happening this decade. I'm excited about it. I think it's going to change the world. That's why I'm writing this book on it, because I think people need to be on the forefront of this stuff or you will get left behind. And you don't want to be, it's different with an iPhone or with a laptop if you're the last one to get it, because yeah, it kind of feels socially awkward that you're not first in line or anything like that, but it's not as big of an impact. But when you're talking about these type of AI systems, this type of technology where you're actually able to be left behind by, a mile, because the person who does have that AI chip implanted or does have that augmented leg or that augmented arm, they're able to do so much more and for so much longer than you, that now being a human itself becomes like that's low grade. I want the upgrade. I want the upgraded human experience. I don't want the low grade human experience. It's a very dangerous thing because you don't want to be the first ones. You don't want to get the bugs and then something happens and your arm or something ends up chopping you up or something. I don't know, whatever craziness we can think of, right? But we don't want to be the first ones and get into trouble from that standpoint. But we don't want to be the last ones and then end up, basically at a very big disadvantage because everyone else got into it ahead of us. So this is my thoughts on the superhuman AI experience. I think it's inevitable. I think it's going to happen within the next decade. And I think that everyone needs to look out on what are the best ways that they're going to get involved with AI. How can they learn more about it? How can they start tippy-toeing their way into this so it's not as shocking when these things start to hit the market and things start to become global and more people around them start to have it. You want to be in the forefront of this stuff so you understand it, know the opportunities, know the problems and what could come with it, and then go from there, okay? So that's all I got for today, guys. It's been an amazing show. I really wanted to cover these two topics, the government 3.0, the superhuman AI concept, and let you guys know that these are the type of things I'm thinking about. When I sit around at my house and I see all the technologies that's going on, I think about these big philosophical questions because I think most people have not even thought about it enough yet. They have not dived into this world yet, and they don't know how that's going to affect their life personally, their kids' life, their business, and all these type of things. And I bring all these things up because imagine what your family life is going to be like in a government 3.0 type of world. Imagine what your family life is going to be in a superhuman type of world. This is the type of stuff you have to start asking yourself, because if you're not asking it, you're going to end up being impacted by it. You're going to end up being one of the ones replaced by AI or replaced by a superhuman person or whatever. But if you understand this stuff and you're keeping up and you're learning about it, you'll be actually able to make a decision on why you do want to do it, or even if you don't want to do it, why you don't want to do it, and be able to point intelligently why. So this is important. I just want everyone out there, especially my followers and the people that engage with the Grow Your Business brand, to be informed. Whether you agree with me or not, the goal here is for you to be informed, understand this stuff, and understand how the technology is beneficial, how it can hurt us, and then make your own decision from there. And I think that's the best thing that I can do, is bring you value, bring you education, so that you can be able to make your own decisions and take it to the next level from there. So I appreciate you guys. Every single Wednesday and Thursday, we are going live. We're talking about AI, business, how to scale, how to grow, and we're talking about different concepts. And these are some of the topics that are very important to me, which is about technology and growth and how do you evolve in this ever-evolving world, right? So if you're interested in learning how you can implement AI into your business, into your life, please book a time with me. Go to chrismateo.com, go to mrgyb.com, either one of those websites. You can get in touch with me. If not, go to the link in my bio, Mr. Grow Your Business. You can go to the link in my bio and you can be able to click there and book a free consultation with me where I can sit down with you and we could talk for 10 to 15 minutes about your business and what I think AI can do to help your business. I've been doing this for 13 years. I'm super passionate about scale and growing businesses, everything from automations, AI, business development, operations, human resource, all these different things. I've touched every single layer of businesses, processes, and systems, and I'm here to help you do the same thing. So click the link in the bio. Let's get to work. Book a free call. I'm excited to help you guys. Remember that AI is here to change our lives, but only if we pick it up and do it. It's not going to do it on its own. It's a tool. Just like a hammer can't build you a house, you still have to use that hammer or that screw gun or whatever that automated system is. AI is just a very big tool that's so much pieces to it and so complex, most people don't understand. My goal with this show and my goal with these lives is to help you understand more of it and use that tool to grow your business. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate it. You have a